Hello everyone, welcome to Achievers IAS classes. Let's begin our discussion on the current events of 1st February 2018. The first issue is regarding the various expectations on the union budget of the financial year. According to analysts, there is unlikely to be any major change in the indirect tax system due to the introduction of goods and services tax, but there can be several positive changes on the direct taxes front, like the change in income tax slabs, introduction of long-term capital gains tax, removal of dividend distribution tax, as well as changes on the corporate tax front. All this are likely to be carried out without affecting the government revenues, as there is a possibility of overshooting the fiscal deficit target due to reduced revenues of the government. We'll look into all these changes once the budget is out today. Till then, let's move on to the next issue, which is an editorial in the Hindu regarding corruption in the higher judiciary. One of the judges of the Allahabad High Court was found to have violated the restraining order issued by the Supreme Court by allowing the GCRG Memorial Trust to admit students. The Supreme Court, after observing the judicial impropriety, formed a three-member committee to examine the conduct of the said judge, and the committee has found evidence of improper actions by the said judge. In case of such allegations too, the judge accused of corruption has not tendered his resignation, which has paved the way for the Chief Justice of India to recommend his removal to the President. Given that the allegations against the particular judge had set off a storm in the judiciary, with the four senior most judges of the Supreme Court holding a press conference to air their differences in the public domain. Given the seriousness of the allegations, the charges against the judge has to be properly investigated in order to cleanse the institution. Also, given the elaborate and cumbersome procedure involved in removing a judge, the judiciary as an institution should not shy away for taking proper in-house actions to punish such conduct and thereby uphold institutional integrity. With that, let's move on to the next issue in news, which is regarding the Rohingya crisis. As we all know, Rohingyas are the Muslims of the Rakhine province of Myanmar who are fleeing ethnic persecution by the Buddhist majority and the Myanmar army. The resulting exodus of refugees from Myanmar has created various problems for neighboring countries like Bangladesh and India. The Indian government had previously said it would deport all illegally resident Rohingya refugees from the country, for which a case was filed in the Supreme Court against the government's move. The government recently has said in the Supreme Court that it does not want India to become the refugee capital of the world and stood by its previous stance of pushing back illegal immigrants. Given the miserable conditions under which these refugees are residing in the country, we have to wait and watch for the judgment of the Supreme Court in the days to come. Till then, let's move on to the next issue in news, which is regarding a recent report on the research publications from India. According to the report, research papers from India on Earth system sciences has nearly doubled in the previous decade. In the area of high quality publications too, there has been an improvement from the previous decade. The analysis included publications in 6 major areas, namely geo research, atmospheric research, ocean research, Arctic research, Antarctic research, and the Himalayas research. And the majority of Indian publications were particularly on Himalayas. The news article is significant because, given the impact of climate change and its disproportionate impact on different regions in the world, governments world over have increased funding for earth science disciplines, and the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology as well as the Indian Meteorological Departments are one of the leading sources of top research publications in this domain. With that said, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding the center's effort to enhance border infrastructure. The government has recently sanctioned rupees 370 crore to the Border Security Force and the Indo-Tibetan Border Police for the construction of bunkers, special climate controlled huts, procurement of snow scooter for the ITBP, etc. This was necessary to enhance the capacity of these forces in bordering the Indo-Pak and the Sino-Indian borders. Some facts to be remembered from the film's perspective is the Border Security Force guards the India-Pak border including the line of control as well as the Indo-Bangladesh border, while the ITBP guards the Sino-Indian border and runs through the states of Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, and they specialize in operating in high altitude mountainous terrain. The funds announced by the government are significant given the massive ceasefire violations occurring along the Indo-Pakistan border since the beginning of 2017, as well as the border skirmishes with China in states like Arunachal Pradesh. With that said, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding the latest addition to the Indian Navy, that is the INS Karanj. The INS Karanj is a state-of-the-art Scorpion class submarine developed under Project 75 by the Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited along with a naval group of France. The Scorpion class of submarines are the Navy's first modern conventional submarines in almost 2 decades, and the first of its kind, the INS Kalvari, was launched in the year 2017, and the following INS Kanderi is undergoing deep dive trials by the Navy. Although the program has been delayed for 4 years due to construction delays, it augments the Indian Navy's capacity to deal with various threats in the territorial waters of India. With that said, let's move on to the next issue in news, which is regarding the recent tax cuts in the United States of America and its impact on other countries, particularly India. The recent US tax cuts are exerting a lot of pressure globally, prompting various countries to look at ways to enhance their tax competitiveness in order to attract investments and boost growth. And in this regard, Indian subsidiaries of many American companies too, as well as various Indian export firms for whom US is a major market, are considering shifting their operations to the US to take advantage of the tax cuts and other benefits offered by the US government. Companies such as Apple, ExxonMobil have also indicated their plans to invest billions of dollars in the US following the tax cuts, and several other companies have already offered bonuses to their employees because with just 21% corporate income tax, companies in the US will have more money on their balance sheets which can be used according to their needs. This has given rise to various concerns regarding slowdown in investment into India by US based firms because the reduction in corporate income tax in the US has already forced Indian subsidiaries of the American firms to look at options of closing their India operations and relocating back to US to avail the tax advantage. Adding to this, Indian leather exporters are looking at the option of adding production in Bangladesh to take advantage of reduced import tariffs of exporting from a least developed country. All this can adversely affect the government's ambitious scheme of Make in India, and the government has to respond with further reforms to the changing times. With that, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding the cooperation between India and Italy in countering corruption. The issue is in news because an Italian delegation of senior anti-corruption officials is expected to visit India to discuss issues of mutual cooperation in corruption investigations. This follows the visit of Italian Prime Minister to India, and it is learned that the representatives from India will be headed by a senior Central Vigilance Commission functionary who is empowered to supervise and direct a probe into corruption allegations as well as cases referred to by the central government. Through this meeting, India hopes to further strengthen its ties with Italian counterparts in areas of mutual information sharing on financial crimes committed on the nation. The meeting also comes in the backdrop of the ruling of an Italian court which acquitted the accused in the VVIP chopper scam case, citing insufficient evidence. In this regard, cooperation between these two countries will further add to India's effort in fighting black money, for which India has already signed various revised bilateral treaties with many countries. With that said, I wrap up today's news analysis. Please do like, share, and comment to support this initiative. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.